So maybe let me segue a bit, if that's okay, into how I process my email. Because I think most people, we just sort of get buried in our inbox and stuff floats down, and if you looked at the oldest item in your inbox, you might be a little embarrassed how long it took you to get back to somebody. I don't let that happen. And the biggest thing I do to not let that happen is I process email as much as I can, oldest to newest. If I have a big long list of unreads that I haven't looked at, yeah, I'll do a scan. I'll see what's super urgent. I'll try to answer, or easy to answer, and try to do those quickly. But fundamentally, at some point every day, I'm going to go into my oldest email and I'm going to say what needs to be done with that, and then move my way up the list till I get to the most recent. And when you do that, you sort of ensure a, say, 24-hour turnaround. Because if you have the discipline to make sure that you're always doing the oldest, and you work your way up to inbox zero at some point every day, which is which is my goal, that everybody knows that within 24 hours you can get a response from me. And whoever's watching this video, shoot me an email. And I'm david.brown@techstars.com, and I think you'll see that I'll say hello back within 24 hours. I'll see it. So you just sort of start at the bottom, and here's an email from Sabrina that's talking about compensation exceptions that we're doing for budgeting for end of year, and I looked at it earlier, and I need to fill out this quick survey. So my normal process would be to read this email, to click on this survey, and to do it. And once I've done it, I would hit archive on the email. And so, in fact, I filled out that survey already, so I'm just going to do that right away. So let me go to this next email, which is just an email from TestFlight that's alerting me to the fact that I have an app that I'm testing on behalf of one of our portfolio companies, because it's the wonderful Boomerang app, and they have a new iPhone version coming out, and I'm a big fan and a big user, and so I've been testing it out for them. And so there's a new version here that's available on the TestFlight platform. And so now what do I need to do? Well, I stopped using their previous version because it had a couple of bugs that prevented me from using it. And so now I need to download this new version and test it for them again. That's not something that I'm going to do right now. I have to download it on my phone. I have to go into it. I have to remember what the bug was. I have to work on it. So this is a good example of one that I can just turn into a task. And so the way I do that is I just take that email and I forward it to Asana, which is just a contact that I've created that is the hard-coded email address in Asana that turns this into a task. And almost every task manager has something like that. And then the subject of the email will be, test Boomerang, and the content will be whatever I want it to say. So I can just type in the description here of whatever I want, and then that will create a task in Asana, and then I can go ahead and archive this email. Here's an alert from our ATS applicant tracking system about a candidate that I interviewed yesterday that I need to review. So I'll submit that review and then archive that email. Then there's an email about some details on who are members in our membership program. So I'll read that email and likely delete it. Then I have something from Culture Amp, which does our 360 surveys, that I've been alerted that somebody would like my feedback on them. So I will, again, do that and then archive the email. Or if it's going to require a lot of thought, I would forward it into the Asana contact so that it would create a task item, and then I could prioritize it along with everything else. So that oldest to newest really helps. Again, it doesn't have to be 100%. Sometimes you got to jump in and deal with the crisis. But the other thing, and I don't have the article handy. I wish I had kept it. There was a great article I read once that there's only a few things that you should do with email. One is it's junk, just delete it. The other is read it and it doesn't need a response, so just read it and delete it. The third thing is read it, respond to it, and delete it. The fourth thing is read it, put it in your calendar, because it's a calendar, and delete it. The fifth thing is read it, put it in a note, Evernote or something, and delete it. And the last thing is turn it into a task. because it's just too long to deal with real time, and delete it. And the point in that is every one of those ends with delete it. And there is nothing that comes in that you can't do one of those things.
Makes sense. And when you say delete, for those using Gmail, do you mean archive?
I mean archive. I use archive, and I don't use filters. I don't use labels. I find that to take too much time, right? To put it in save this or customer that or whatever. I archive 100% of everything. I never put anything to trash, so I shouldn't say delete. And if you sort of do that and you do it oldest to newest, email is not so overwhelming that the email doesn't sort of linger in your inbox forever while you're pondering whether you'll have a better answer for the thing tomorrow than you did today. And I started using the analogy, email in your inbox is not like wine. It doesn't get better with time. It's more like cheese. You might, the answer that you give the person that asks you the question tomorrow is going to be the same probably as the one you give today. So why not give it today and get it out of your inbox and help them unblock whatever their blocker was that caused them to ask you the question in the first place.
And what are some of your heuristics, that kind of fine line? I know for me, one of the things that always sort of gets me in that kind of 5 different ways of dealing with email is knowing the line between what should I reply to now versus, wow, that's a task. I need to spend some more time on that.
Yeah, I think most people treat email like wine. If you really need to do research, you need to talk to a bunch of people to think about how to respond. You need to look up some things, or it's a 3-page answer to be really thoughtful. Then that can be a task because it's longer than is reasonable. Mm-hmm. If you just have the feeling that you wish you had a better answer but you don't, well, you're not going to have it. That's the wine one, right? It's not going to be better tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And so you might as well respond. But either respond or put it to task. There's no middle ground there.
And when you put it to task, do you also respond to let somebody know, hey, I'm on this,
yes.
but I'm not going to be right back to you?
Yeah, give me a week. I need to do some research. I got your email, but I'm on the road, and I need till the end of the month. And then put that commitment date into the task as a due date, and then note it in the comments if that's helpful for you to remember so that you can actually meet your commitments. People are good with that.
Mm-hmm. And then as you think about emails kind of coming in, let's say over a holiday break or the weekend or something, I know many people almost dread vacation because they think, I'm going to just come back to this blizzard of email.
Yeah.
So with your inbox zero philosophy, and let's say you take a week off, how do you manage the week off, and then how do you manage your time when you come back?
That's a good question. So my inbox zero rule does not apply when I'm on vacation. I take my vacations off the grid, more than a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks in some cases. My family and I love to travel, and I travel without a laptop. And I don't check email while I'm gone. I turn it off on my phone. And I give somebody an emergency contact information so that if the place is on fire, they can contact me. And I would say that has almost never happened in my years of doing that it was such an emergency that somebody contacted me. And so, yes, I do come back to a lot of email. And I don't use the method that I know a lot of people use, which is I'm not going to get to your email, put an autoresponder on, I'm going to archive my whole inbox the minute I get back. I don't do that because I feel like it disconnects me from what's going on in the business. But what I do is, we traveled to Europe this summer. I was gone for 3 weeks. I come back on a Saturday, and I make Sunday a work day. And it's kind of a brutal day, but I've just had 3 weeks off, and it's an opportunity for me to go through my inbox and make my tasks and prioritize my things so that I can walk into the office Monday morning feeling reasonably caught up. And then while I'm gone, I put on an autoresponder that says I'm out and not to expect me to respond until whatever date that I'm back.